broadband needs. And what we kind of came up with was that they had a few further questions that they needed to ask some of their students. And so as of this past week, we've been in contact with them about a survey they're going to send out to all of their students and their families to better, I guess, to better task them, or to ask those students exactly what level of service is needed, what they have, and kind of some preliminary stuff that we we're trying to all get on the same page. That way we can really advocate for that issue going forward. That was a really productive meeting, and we appreciate everyone for being there. Then we also had our Next Link meeting at Marriott, which is that new internet service provider that's coming to town with the CAF grants, the Connect America Funds, CAF grants, the federal funding. They are going to be putting in towers all around Ector and Midland County. They received the funds to do that, to improve service to a pretty high level, which is 100 megabytes per second download speed, 10 megabyte upload speed. From that meeting, the fellow from NextLink kind of gave an overview, which was pretty high level. But in the breakout session afterwards, what we really gathered from it, and what some folks in Midland and Monahans and Winkler County, what we all talked to them about is they essentially said, if you can find us a tower and you tell us there's underserved people there, they'll throw up a transponder there and they'll get service to those folks. And there's one of our particular board members was talking about Greenwood, and he said, and one of the folks from Midland County Commissioners Court had said, if they let them use one of their towers that belongs to Midland County that they had just installed, that they will provide them with backup emergency communication service. And so there are some public-private partnerships there that we're going to continue moving forward with and having these discussions with, where maybe some water towers or some other vertical assets in Odessa and in Ector County can be utilized to where we essentially let them use a vertical asset and then they let us use some service. And so there's some ideas there going forward. And as they're finishing up their work in San Angelo, as they come here in 2021, they are going to be hiring some folks, and they are going to be expanding a lot of operations out here. And so we're just going to continue those conversations and putting everybody in touch. And that's really kind of the next level of everything, is really they are very ready and willing to put service in wherever we need it. And we have the maps that show that. And so that's a very promising deal. Then we do roads. So we just finished up our Permian Basin freight study, which was this year-long study that kind of originally came about because we challenged what TxDOT was considering freight out here. And we challenged what TxDOT was saying, how many trucks it took to develop a well. And that was kind of a back of the napkin calculations that me and James realized that they were really severely undercounting what was happening out here. And a lot of it was based on 2010 numbers. And we all know that fracking and all that stuff has expanded since then. What we found in that study, and I think I brought that up before, was that over 106,000 truck trips per day were not in the TxDOT freight models. And that's what this study found. What it also found was that whereas they thought that each well, it took 1,000 trucks to develop that well in the Permian Basin, they found that it's between 4,000 and 7,000 trucks to develop that well. So what does that mean exactly? Is at the base level, it means pavement impact is tremendously affected. And essentially each of those heavyweight trucks is the equivalent of 18,000 Ford F-150s. So really, when you do some quick math, that means each individual well drilled out here is between 72 million and 126 million vehicle truck trips of an F-150 on that pavement. And so when we look at why is the pavement deteriorating, why are roadways not real well built out here, and why are they deteriorating, that is one of the causes. And so that is something we are looking forward to going forward, is applying those freight metrics into the TxDOT system. And that's one of the suggested solutions. Another thing is that in the freight funding formulas, by seeing the amount of undercounted vehicles, that will bring some more money back, hopefully. And this gives us some ammunition going forward into this next legislative session that starts in January. And saying, really, look, guys, we're already behind. This is your best return on your investment. You are seeing the coffers at the state level being hit hard by state severance taxes not coming in because of the hit to the oil field. we really think y'all should invest and look at what y'all would get in return. That also out of this study is a few studies that will go on top of that. One of those being that extension of the Craddock Reliever route, which right now terminates at 1788 in Midland County, extending that over to the northeast side of Loop 338. That is one of the suggested studies. Another one, or a few of them, are going to be in West Odessa. We're going to be studying the north-south corridors as well as the east-west corridors in that area as that area expands. And there should be some really good economic development opportunities with some different businesses coming in, wanting to come in out there in an area that really could see some huge development going forward. And so we want to have the right roadways to really enhance that development. And then lastly, currently, we now underway have a 302 study and a 349 study to expand both of those roadways to 4-lane divided. And that was a big one that kind of came out of this study and some work we did and some letters we sent into TxDOT. And so 349 south from Midland all the way down to I-10 is looking at being 4-lane divided, similar to what we're seeing on US 385, which is underway, the construction is. And then that 302 corridor out there to the Delaware Basin, the study to make that thing 4-lane divided is underway and is active. So some good news on that front as well. And I'll take any questions about any of the three topics there.
Tim is muted. I think he's having some trouble on that. So I'll.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted now.
Yep.
Is that correct? Am I unmuted
Yes.
now?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
All right. Seeing no other questions, I think I may have gone to a worse place, but let's go with Cindy if she's got the financials ready.
Good afternoon. Actually, we do not have the September financials ready as it's the last month of the fiscal year. We're still wrapping up year-end adjustments, one of them being the OC payment that's up on the next agenda item, as well as the UTPB 1.5 million. That's still with the Weaver firm that's doing the compliance audit on it. So we will have September and October financials for y'all at the next meeting. I will report to you that we got our sales tax check in yesterday. And for ODC, it was $874,162. That's up a little over 100,000 from what we budgeted for the month. It's significantly down from last year by about 29.5%. So last year's amount was 1.2 million. So, but we are above budget, so that's good news. And that's all I have to report today.
Okay, any questions for Cindy on that? If not, we'll move on to Robert for that resolution.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Thank you for having me. This is going to be a request for the 6th and final payment for the Odessa College Training Facilities Grant. If you'll remember, that grant was $8 million total, and that was a step down payment. $2 million, it's actually step down, up, then down again. $2 million initially, $3 million the next, $1 million, $1 million, $500,000, and this is the final $500,000 payment. Weaver did the audit. They found that they did not find any anomalies, that they met that their student requirement. It was 850 student completions, meaning students that had completed the program, as well as that they had kept their initial investment and had used up that $8 million. So at this point, we're just looking for approval to make that final $500,000 payment.
Okay, do I have go ahead?
I'm sorry, Tim. I'll make a motion. It's Chris.
Okay, need a second?
Second.
Second, any more discussion, any questions? If not, signify by saying aye. For all approved, aye. Any nays? Okay, it passes. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, that's gonna send it back to Cindy on the resolution for the Weaver annual audit.
Yes, this is the resolution to approve the award of the audit to, it's not an award, a continuation using Weaver as the outside audit for ODC. They are also the auditors for the city of Odessa. This is the resolution to approve it. There's a contract that's been drafted by legal and sent to Weaver for signature. And they've sent an engagement letter, and I forward that on to Tim as chairman of the board to sign. The total fee on that is $23,000 for the ODC audit. It was $22,000 last year, so it increased by $1,000. And it would also include the cost of performing the audit on the Economic Development Division of the Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $6,700.
Cindy, this is David. Does the city on a regular basis request proposals? Is there a requirement that the city do that?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a requirement necessarily since it is professional services. However, the city, when it took proposals, I want to say it was probably 6 years ago, and we did an initial, it may have been 7, initial 2 or 3 year term with 2 additional 2-year terms. And one of the reasons we were doing that was because we knew we were starting the process of converting into a new system. We were initially scheduled to make that conversion 10/1/18, and due to lack of personnel, we had to move that to 10/1/19. And so it's important that you have an audit firm that's familiar with you under the old system to see your transition into the new system. So they will be doing this year's audit, which is another reason we're a little bit behind, is because we have a new system. And so we're catching up on checking balances and making sure everything's right before we close the year.
So I guess I'm assuming next year,
Yes,
probably go out for proposals again?
yes.
Okay.
I think the city is addressing that as well.
Okay.
Cindy, I know this question gets asked probably every year, but they audit the Economic Development Department of the Chamber. Is that in addition to the audit that we do within the chamber
Yes.
of our own department?
So the, I mean, there's an audit done on the chamber as a whole. And then there is an audit done on the Economic Development Division and the Convention and Visitors Division. That one goes to the city because it's funded through city sales tax dollars. And then this one is funded through ODC dollars. And there's some differences in how those audits are performed. I mean, we're asking them to look at compliance with what the contract agreement says. That's between ODC and economic development, as well as financial issues. So there is an overall audit that's done at the chamber level that is paid for by the chamber.
But just, I mean, and I probably should just call you later, but we're the only contractor that's audited through this.
No, I mean through this, yes. And it's a separate engagement. It's not included under the same engagement as the ODC audit. But some of the other contractors are request and have audits performed as well. Motrin is one of them. Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
I would
Okay.
move for approval, Tim.
Okay, we got a motion to need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. And it passes. Okay, that gets us down to our committee reports. Partnership didn't meet. David, you and Melanie meet on tax incentive. Y'all met on,
We did not.
okay. And Gene and I haven't met on advertising, but we will get a meeting before the next meeting to go over all of our advertising on the Permian fuels and all that again. Get with Craig on that. And design, Chris and Gene, did y'all have any?
Not yet, but we probably ought to get with you and council to see what direction we're going. We haven't had a meeting in about a year, so
Okay.
we need to just kind of see where we are on that. And I know it was overhauled. The committee was overhauled, and just see, you know, how we can best get that committee going.
I can speak to that a little bit. I'm also the attorney for the Downtown Odessa Inc. We currently, with the design thing, we wait for applications to come in. We've had several applications that came in previously that are being completed, and now we have new applications coming in that I'm waiting on Miss Lambert to forward on to me, and then I will get the design committee together to decide as to whether it meets the criteria for that. So there are applications coming in, but we've never had sort of a set meeting time. It's just sort of been on an as needed basis. But we should be fairly close to receiving more applications to review.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you, Robert.
Tim,
Yes.
I'll just go back up to B. The Tax Incentive Committee probably will be meeting this next month on the project that we discussed earlier for tax abatement process. The most recent tax abatements you might have been seeing have not involved the city at all. So it's the reason that hasn't been. This one doesn't necessarily either, but we need to make sure everyone is included in this process for this one. So that committee is a committee that's represented by every representative from every taxing entity is on that, plus the ODC. So that should be meeting this month also.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion on that? Moving to the emergency assistant options. Does anyone on the board have any comments to make on that? Seeing none or not hearing any. Update on the task force report. I think Craig and Wes and I are going to try to get together and get with Kirk and have a report for our next meeting. With everything that's going on, elections and everything, everybody going different directions. That was a little difficult to do this last time, but now that we've got, then hopefully we'll have all the elections resolved and know which direction. We've gotten some reports from High Water, and so we've got that. We'll need to make a report on that, and that'll be on the next meeting.
And Tim, I guess what you're thinking is that depending on how the elections are finalized, the strategy could change with regard to our Permian Fuels America effort. Is that right?
I think so. Well, we need to make sure that we continue going. It's going to change, yes, but depending on who's in the office. But right. The main thing is to get a grip of everything, what we are and where we're headed next, and what our goals are going to be. Kind of get some guidelines of which direction we go. I've already heard from the guys in Fort Worth, and they're setting up and have us. They're ready to go either way. So, but we need to get everybody else on the same page. Get a little more input from them as well if we can.
Right.
So,
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, before we adjourn, do we have any committee appointees that are scheduled for the first of the year? Well, we have one more meeting before we go into the year 2021. And I know a while back we were a little lax on those. Do we have any that we need to look at going into the next year?
I'm not aware. Are you talking about changing the committees we have or new committees?
He needs new vacancies to fill, right?
Just some people roll off. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll get a list of those and get it out to everyone and find out. I have not seen a list of who's rolling off. I think everybody on our board stays on, correct? Robert, have you got the list, or do we?
I don't have the list in front of me, but I can get that list out to you, and then we can determine that shortly.
Yeah, whose terms, if we have someone that expires. I thought we were good, but we'll double check that and go from there.
I think everybody on the board is eligible for reappointment if their term is up. So that's up to council. And I think the committees that are listed on the agenda now are the only committees that we have positions on. The others sort of never functioned. So I think the new, Robert, you might correct me, the new bylaw or general development plan, et cetera, all the forms that y'all been updating over the last several months may have cleaned some of that up.
Yeah, that would be correct. And I believe Wes is also correct on the board members. If we'll remember, we still have not approved that new set of ODC bylaws as well. So, but I will get that current list of if there is a chance that somebody is rolling off. But I think everyone is eligible for reappointment. So I'll get that out to Tim and we'll get that out to everyone as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Why haven't we approved the revised bylaw?
We were waiting, Melanie, for the city council had asked for, remember, opinions on why we shouldn't increase it from 5 to 7 members. When it was discovered that that was there, and then city council wanted to have a joint meeting with ODC to discuss that, and that joint meeting with everything else going on just never materialized.
Okay. All right. Dewey, are you still on? We'll get Robert.
Yes, sir.
We'll get with council and get that taken care of on this next meeting if
Yes, sir.
possible.
Board, according to my boards and commissions for the ODC board, Jean and Melanie are going to be up December 31st of 2020 this year.
And both are eligible for
Yes.
another term. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion?
Dewey is on still. Kim, did you want to ask him a question?
Just to let him advise council, we need to get together and have someone get with me and we can try to do a joint meeting to get that taken care of. That one issue. I remember now that was, I think Councilman Sprouls was, if I'm not mistaken, was consider or would like to consider of maybe going from 5 to 7 since we now have 7 council. Is that correct, Robert?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. If we get, so I'll make it a point to get with the council and get with the mayor, probably the mayor will be the one to go to and see if we can't get that flanched up and see what they want us to do. What's that? Okay.
Okay.
I'm begging for a motion for adjournment now, I guess.
I'll make a
All right. Got one? Need a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Same sign. Thank you, everyone. And I think we need to plan on another Zoom meeting for the next meeting, and we'll just remain to see how things go before we go back to actually meeting. And if everyone's okay with that.
Sounds good.
That's
All right.
good.
Apologize for the background noise. I was in the quietest place when I started, but it got a little loud. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.